Yes, my G's, what is good? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mamba FPV, and today I am so excited because it's part 2 of the hovercraft build. So last week we put the whole thing together, we put the motor on, etc. You know what happened last week, so I'm just going to show you what I did as a continuation. After I finished filming, I carried on filming episode 2, or part 2, which is this video. So I installed the Mamba stack, as you can see. I've got all the electronics in, and I'm going to show you a quick clip now of what actually happened when I tried to run the motor. Okay, for the record, I'm expecting complete disaster. I'm standing inside, mate. Doesn't like summer. So yeah, as you can see, it didn't work. Now there's a few reasons why it might not be working. Because the motor's actually standing up on edge, I might even have that motor spinning in the wrong direction, or have it ticked to be reversed and it's not reversed, something along those lines. So that might be playing up. I'm sure there's a way that I can get this setup working. However, I've done a bit of research on YouTube and I've just discovered loads of new parts, loads of new things. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to dive into electronics of boats, hovercrafts and airplanes, just to see if I can get my head round this kind of build. And I think I can. It doesn't look too complicated. I've got a lot of background knowledge in the drones and how they work. So the problem I've got is I don't know how to do new stuff on the equipment that I've already got. So yeah, let me just jump into what I've bought. So I went onto YouTube, like I said, done some research and found that if I use one of these motors, which typically comes on the back of an aeroplane, if you follow me on Instagram, you'd have seen me talking about a jet engine. And what I meant by a jet engine is, yes, a bit clickbaity, but it was this engine right here. These go on the back of aeroplanes and these propel planes. So I'm pretty sure this is going to inflate a bag pretty good. So the spec on that motor right there blew my mind, to be honest. So we have a 2300 kV motor, a 6S. It's got a max current of 65 amps. The max thrust is 2240 grams. The peak power is 1638 watts, and the recommended ESC is an 80 amp ESC. So we'll come back to that. So I went on to Amazon and I started to order a few bits like servos. These are 13 gram servos, or 15 grams at peak torque, but I'm pretty sure all metal. So this should be a decent servo to move the flappy thing at the back. And also I ordered some ESCs, and with these ESCs I got two motors. I got one 1450 kV, and then I got this 2200 kV motor. So my idea was to use this motor and an ESC on the rear to propel it, and then this ESC to run this motor to inflate the bag. Unfortunately, after receiving the motor, I realised that I needed an 80 amp ESC. So I've jumped onto Amazon again, ordered a prime delivery, 7 o'clock today, let's go. I've got an 80 amp hobby wing, I think it is a hobby wing ESC, which is going to be plenty enough to run this, as it's a peak at 65 amp. So my idea is to put the controls of this inflating motor on a pot. So I'm hoping that I can literally just put it onto whatever set throttle I want, just to provide me enough air for the bag and enough of an air cushion underneath to keep it going. And if I want to get super juicy, I can just whack it all up. But yeah, this is exciting me. I've got to redesign the whole thing to fit this now, which I can't wait to do. What else have we got? Have we got anything else? No, I think that's it. Oh yes, so I was trying to fit an ELRS to this setup, but for some reason I've got a new radio, and this ELRS has got a binding phrase on it, my radio has not got a binding phrase on it, and I've got 3 quads bound to it, and I don't want to put a binding phrase on it, so I couldn't quite figure out how to get the CLRS working or get it flashed so it was brand new again. So I decided to take the advice from Mike Duran at Gemfan and get myself a PWM receiver. So I've done a little bit of research on this, and I found out you can get ELRS receivers that are PMW, so you can just plug in all of these. Let me show you, just in case you don't know anything about these. They have a plug here which has got your ground, your voltage and your signal. So all you do is you plug that into your receivers, and it gives you a channel that this receiver's on. So then you map that channel to wherever you want it to work on your radio, and hey presto. So I'm hoping that this is going to be relatively simple. So as usual, let's jump into a time lapse. I've got to do a complete remodel on the front end and the back end, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this, guys. Hope you are. Stay with me and I'll speak to you after the time lapse. Let's go. Okay, so here we are. We have built the fan motor straight into like a ram air scoop, which is going to be sick. Let me just get it out for you. Comes apart. So that is basically how it's going to be shoving air down into the bottom. So that's going to be solely to power the bag and the air cushion. Let me just so I'm going to seal all this up, so that will literally just be ramming everything down and around here. The bag's going to be now fitted to the outside skirt, so I'll get maximum airflow, and it provides a little bit more give for the bag to open up. So what I need to do next is cut all of this off, figure out where I'm going to mount the motor and the rudder, and yeah, get all this glued down. Test the electrics. Come on. Take a look at that. I am so proud of this. It's turned out so good. Obviously I had no idea what I was going with, how I was going to do stuff. The lighting's a bit bad, but there you can see my servo down the bottom here. This took a little bit of time to set up, but I got it on full lock both ways. Now, the one thing I don't understand at the minute is how servos work. Do I need to center the servo? Do I need to set it up in a certain way? Does it know it's center? Does it settle on center? All this I've got to find out. I think this is going to work sick, to be fair. Now I might add another wing on this side and another wing on the other side just for super cool looks. But if you look over here, I've fitted it on bearings top and bottom, so it's just super butter smooth. There's no resistance at all. Yeah, I am stoked, and the way that this turned out is absolutely fantastic. As you can see, it's all just filtered straight into the bottom there, so that's going to come straight out of this hole here, which is going to fill the bag all the way around. I'm going to cut this away, fill that back in, so I can have that as a complete airbag at the front, because it needs quite a bit of support, because it might be a little bit front heavy. And then this hole here is going to provide the air to put a cushion between the surface and the bag. So yeah, it's turned out really well so far. Now I have got all of my parts, so let me show you something. This was the 30 amp ESC that I got with the motors, and after finding out that this motor here needed to run off at 80 amp ESC, I bought an 80 amp ESC. I never knew the difference. Look at that. It's got 3 caps on it. It's absolutely enormous. So I could probably safely say that this is going to be okay. 30 amp motor for the front one. I'm hoping that's going to be okay. That's a 4S LiPo on that, so yeah, fingers crossed. I've got the right components there. Now I've also got the Maytech ELRS PWM receiver, so this is going to be what I solder all my channels to. So each motor will be on a certain channel, the servo will be on a certain channel, and I'm hoping then with a new model on my radio that I should be able to get them bound up. So yeah, wish me luck guys. Let's get some components in. Shutting! We are at a stage now where I just don't know how to continue. In my head it's very simple, but also in my head it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to talk you through the build, show you what I've done, and then explain where my thought process is at right now. Okay guys, here she is. Check it out. I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. It was a lot longer than you would ever imagine to build this. It's a complete redesign, as you can see, but damn, does that look sick or what? we have now a race style hovercraft. So hopefully this is going to provide enough thrust, which it should. 2260 grams of thrust. So I'm hoping that this is less than 2 kilograms in weight, which I'm not convinced it's going to be. So I might have buggered up a little bit with the size of it and what have you, but regardless, we're going to make this work. If I've got to get a bigger motor that's going to be sending more thrust out of it, and then that is what is going to happen. We've got the motor mounted, we've got the ESCs on the 80 amp ESC, which is running this. We've got a 30 amp ESC running this motor. A little bit concerned because this is a 1400 kV, so I'm presuming 6S. This ESC here is rated for 4S only. I do have a bigger motor, well, a more 4S rated motor, a 2200 kV, but it's got like a clonk to it. Hear it? So when it spins, I think that's going to turn into vibration. I've took it apart, can't figure it out. It's just got a clonk. It might be in the bearing itself. So I'm reluctant to use it, although I might test it if this one doesn't have enough power. Then we've got here, check this out, guys. We have the back rudder. Now the rudder I've fitted onto ceramic ball bearings, using some gummies, which was an absolute perfect fit. I came up lucky with this, to be fair. And then we've got the servo at the back here. Watch this. Yes, guys, come on. Oh man, it's going to be sick. And because it's on bearings, there's literally no tension or pressure on this servo, and this servo is rated up to a peak of 15 grams. So yeah, that's going to be shifting this no problem at all. So agility and the steering, I think it's going to be incredible. A little bit of pitch on the back so I can keep the back end down. It is a little bit heavier at the front, I believe, so that should be counteractive. Pushing that down, pushing that, we'll figure it out anyway. All right guys, so let me address the issue that I have. Now in my head it's simple, and then also in my head it does not make any sense. So we have an ESC here which is running this main motor for the airbag. Okay, so we're going to wire this up to, let's for instance say channel 2. Okay, so channel 2 is going to power this. We're going to run the servo off channel 1, and we're going to run the motor ESC off channel 3. Now all of these wires here get soldered to the receiver. Now this receiver here has got channels and an individual ground and 5 volt or ground and voltage pad with a channel for each one. So when I, for instance, use the top 3, you'll have, yeah, let's see if we can get, there you go. You got ground 5 volt and channel 1, ground 5 volt channel 2, all the way up to channel 7. So if I wire this up to channel 1, and then I wire this up to channel 2, right, my brain, okay, if I wire this up to channel 1 with a voltage and a ground, okay, that'll power channel 1. So I'm presuming that will power this up. But does that also power up this to give me the ELRS receiving, or does this need to be wired up to something else to give it power, i.e. a flight controller or something? Because usually we would wire a receiver up to a flight controller, and that would then give you everything that you need. But this has got a channel board on it, so I'm presuming it will just direct link. But if you can imagine, I'm going to be wiring up like this and this to this, and that's 2 different batteries being plugged into one thing. That doesn't really sound safe. Now I might be overthinking this, I don't know, but when I wire my servo to this, how's that going to work? Does the servo need its own battery as well? I just don't know. I just don't know. Does the servo need its own ESC? Oh my God. What am I getting myself into, guys? So that is where we got to on the build. I'm sorry that it is going to drift into a third part, but hopefully it gives you something to look forward to. I'm enjoying building it. I hope you're enjoying watching it. And yeah, I hope you can agree that this is looking sick. Can't wait to get it up and running properly and just get out there. Fingers crossed tomorrow. If this gets done tomorrow and it's working, then there will be a video straight away. So I'll put a few little updates on Instagram if I can't get it working, but let's not think about that at the minute. Let's think tomorrow it's gonna be done. Today is Saturday, Sunday is tomorrow, Sunday is my lucky day. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this, guys. And as usual, if you did enjoy this content, please drop a like, subscribe, go into the comments and drop me a little comment. Let me know what you think. And yeah, hit that notification bell so you don't miss part 3 of the hovercraft build. Well, I've been Mamba FPV and you guys have been freaking awesome.